Millions ringing in 2026 like, wow, it's cold in January? No. As if winter just showed up drunk and uninvited. And notice it's never, we weren't ready. It's always, nobody could have seen this coming. Roads freeze, power grids panic, and everyone on TV acts so shocked. And we keep pretending like it's an act of God rather than a planning issue. So we're going to talk about why winter keeps winning and why we act surprised every single time. That and much more on this episode of Teed Off. Welcome back to Teed Off. I'm your host, James, bringing you all the news of the week with no filter, no fluff, and as always, no political affiliations. Today is one of those episodes where everything is going to feel disconnected until you actually step back and realize I'm kind of talking about the same story. You've got winter already hitting hard, systems are strained, and everybody's acting surprised. Markets and businesses are already starting to do what they do in the new year. We've got people in Iran pushing back, and the rest of the world deciding how much attention to pay to it. And of course, always having one eye on oil prices. And all the way on the other end of the spectrum, we have college football having one of the wildest, wackiest, most fun to watch seasons in decades. And Indiana finds itself in the middle of a national championship conversation. Who would have thought that? Different worlds, same question underneath. Who was ready and who was just hoping that things would work out? But before we get into it, I've got another Elon Musk comment for you. Last week, we had George bring us a comment from inside the Elon Musk cult camp. This week, we have a comment from somebody outside of the Elon Musk love circle. Tom Sawyer 11R-1F says, Elon Musk lives off of our taxes, government contracts, and subsidies! Exclamation point. Thank you, Tom, for your comment. With this section, I'll try to think a little bit outside the box. I read these comments and I try to see exactly why you're saying something rather than what you're saying. And what I really find about comments like this is that they're not about Elon Musk. It's about the layer we argue on. We turn everything into a black and white character debate. Hero or villain. In this case, government leech or genius innovator. But what you have to realize, my Mississippi exploring friend, is that government contracts exist because the government does not build rockets or satellites or electric cars. They used to build some of that stuff, but they don't do it anymore. And we don't want them to because they're no good at it. I mean, $38 trillion of debt and 13-figure annual deficits show inefficiency that the United States has to build anything to scale. At the same time, private companies that take on huge risk for huge upside, they only exist with public backing in some way. Innovation takes investment. Bigger investment comes with public assistance because it stabilizes revenues. And a future without innovation is not a future. It's just asking to be enslaved by somebody down the road in some way because other nations are going to innovate. The real argument should be about transparency, accountability, and the value of results. Because once you zoom out, this isn't about Elon Musk. It isn't about taxpayers giving him anything. It isn't about subsidies. It isn't about any of that. It is about how modern economies function. Not saying it's right, just saying that's the way it is. Thank you once again, Tom, for your comment. And if you want your comment to be part of the show, you have to leave one. You ever notice how winter shows up at the same time every year? Go figure. But we're always like, what is this? Solid form H2O? Yeah, pipes freeze. Cars won't start. Everybody's Googling, can you drive on ice with bald tires? Winter doesn't sneak up on us. It RSVPs in August. Every year we all do the same thing though. Weather forecast comes. Cold front coming in. And part of us are like, well, it's probably not cold. And the other part, they're rushing to Walmart, trying to stock up on 6 months of canned goods like it's going out of style, like there's a nuclear winter coming. Next thing you know, it's 9 degrees. The wind hits your face, it hurts. Oh, ouch. And you're wearing 3 hoodies because you can't find that coat you had from last year. And we know better. The batteries are weak. The tires are trash. The furnace makes that noise it's not supposed to be making. But we still roll into December like, hey man, we'll just see where it goes. We don't plan, we hope. And hope is not a winter strategy. Winter turns every grown-up into a panic DIY expert. Suddenly, everybody's wrapping pipes with towels, letting faucets drip, and arguing with ChatGPT at 2 a.m. during an ice storm. I followed the steps exactly. Why is it still leaking? Because winter doesn't care if you watch half of a YouTube video. It's funny though, we remember winters being a lot worse. My first memory was 1979, the big blizzard. And I was 3 years old and I remember being at my grandpa's house and somebody dropped me into the snow and all I saw was white and all I heard was laughter. That was a winter, snow above your head. Now kids are out of school with an inch of snow just being forecast. It hadn't even snowed yet. Now I don't know if we were better prepared back then, but we had more of a roll with the punches kind of attitude. At least that's the way I was as a kid. Now, a half inch of ice, and the whole country shuts down like it's the coronavirus sequel. Here's the truth though, we don't fail winter because we don't know what to do. We fail winter because we don't want to deal with it until it forces us to. Winter exposes procrastination. Next year, I'm going to be ready. New tires, pipes insulated, deck treated, emergency kit, car battery, tires. We'll have it all. And then July hits and we say, oh man, what a great day to ignore the future. So when winter hits and everything goes sideways, just remember, it's not that winter surprised us. It's that we surprised ourselves by doing the same thing all over again. Just do like me and the bears do, hibernate until spring. All right, let's get into the back nine loving. Dating in your 40s and your 50s is wild because everybody says they want no drama, but their dating profile looks like a season finale. You're not even on the date yet and you're doing math. Okay, kids, ex, work schedule. Do I even have the emotional bandwidth and the bowel stability for tacos tonight? But I don't date that much anymore. Not because I figured it out, but because I got tired of pretending that I was low maintenance. Pretending I was not shallow toward a lot of things. And I got tired of thinking these were things I should apologize for before appetizers even came. You see, low maintenance is something we tell strangers so they won't leave. Back nine loving rule, if you have to rehearse who you are before the date, that's not chemistry. That's customer service. And I already had those kind of jobs back in my 20s. That's this week's Back Nine Loving, because if you have to clock in for a date, that's not romance. That's a shift. Segment number 2 is the January squeeze, because January is the month where everybody says I'm going to get my finances together and then do the exact opposite. We get planners, we get calendars, we try to find the calculator on our phone again, budget apps, all these things, and then we open them once, and just like our gym membership, we don't do them again. And this month, every year, there's always a version of the same headline. Americans feeling the January squeeze. But that's not accurate because January didn't squeeze you. November and December did. Actually, you started getting squeezed whenever you were buying candy for Halloween. January just shows you the receipt. January is when credit card statements arrive like subpoenas. It is whenever the return policy suddenly becomes very important. And it's when everybody's doing math that they hadn't done since high school. How did I spend this much on miscellaneous? And miscellaneous isn't a store. It's a lifestyle. And of course, the timing is brutal. Heating bills spike, annual percentage rates reset, gas starts to rise due to spring refinery calibrations coming, insurance renews with much higher premiums, and taxes from income to property are right around the corner waving. Hey, don't forget about me, I'll be coming soon. January is basically every bill saying, I hope you enjoyed yourself. And just like the weather, we act surprised that all of this is happening, like it was unexpected. Why is everyone broke in January? Because we tried to emotionally cope with life using Target and Amazon. Same as every year. And if you're over 40, January gives you a double gut punch. You're not just broke, you're ashamed of yourself. Why? Because you knew better, but you still couldn't resist getting that third Fitbit for your wife. That's not regret, bro. That's just you never learning a lesson with interest. January is whenever lunch becomes leftovers, when streaming services start to get canceled, and suddenly water tastes fine. I don't need coffee out, I have coffee at home. Funny how Folgers taste like responsibility, right? Here is the real squeeze though. December lets you lie to yourself. January demands honesty, and it makes you look at stuff you don't want to, because nobody wants to be audited by their own bank app. So if January is feeling a little tight or a little stressful or a little humiliating, you're not alone. You are not bad with money. There is nothing wrong with you. You are just human, and a human that once again lost to December. Time for the Nostalgic News Minute. Tonight, January 1st, 1959, rebel leader Fidel Castro has officially taken control of Cuba, following the sudden departure of President Batista. Crowds filled the streets of Havana today, celebrating what many are calling a new era of freedom. American officials say the situation bears watching, but express confidence that stability in the region will be maintained. The change in leadership is widely expected to improve conditions for the Cuban people. That is your Nostalgic News Minute. I'm James Roberts, saying that things are always optimistic, right up to the point they are not. Good night, and good luck. Okay, segment number 3. These are the protests in Iran. If you don't know what's going on there, this is the biggest uprising protest that they've had since 2022. Iran is a country that has really only had its government in place since 1979. They had a Shah before that, and in 1979 it was replaced by this current leadership, which is pretty much hardcore Islamic leadership. But this is the largest uprising since 2022, and it's happening for a lot of reasons. The main reason why these things always seem to happen and why we need to keep an eye on these things in the United States as well is that Iran's inflation is about 50%. So prices are going up 50% every single year there. Their RIA is their name of their currency, is at the lowest it's ever been, I think, compared to the dollar. Why this is happening is the sanctions that it's been getting for so long really start to bite on your economy. If countries aren't doing what we want them to do, then we'll throw these economic sanctions on them. And whenever we do that, our hope is that people will uprise like they are doing in Iran now and take over and displace the government. The problem becomes we do things like this with like Venezuela. Instead of the citizenry there uprising and everything, they, like Venezuela, will take a long walk and come to the border of the United States. And then we have an immigration problem. We have a criminal problem. A lot of this immigration problem we have is us and our sanction problems. The way we put these sanctions onto countries and just expect that, oh, they'll stay there. They'll stay in poverty. They'll stay and be repressed and just take over their leaders at some point. That's not the way it works. It's a good idea. And sometimes it does work, but you will still have refugees being displaced and millions of them being displaced, overwhelming other countries. I've actually known a couple people from Iran, talked to a few people online. Pretty much sounds like a place that you wouldn't want to live. They are very much repressed. Women especially are really repressed there. And they seem to have a lot of a mess going on. And Trump has already said, we are locked and loaded. They tried to put down their protesters with force that is too great. Donald Trump has already threatened to take us in there and go to war. Hey man, we just left Afghanistan a few years ago after 20 years of being there. I don't think we need to go back overseas and have our military be there for another war that lasts that long. We're not good at these modern wars. We're definitely not good at these modern Middle East wars. The thing about this too is with this uprising, you've got to constantly look at oil because Iran supplies a lot of oil to the world. Even though they're sanctioned, and I don't think we buy any now, we might buy some now. They are selling to other people no matter what. I guarantee oil is getting sent to China and they're just buying it not in dollars but in yuan. Hopefully things calm down over there. It would be great if they would get more of a republic democratic situation going on over there, but these things flare up from time to time and usually they burn themselves out pretty quick. We'll see. But that's enough on that today. Let's get into the hack trick. It's time for the hack trick. 3 small fixes that quietly solve problems that people live with every day. Hack number 1, if your phone or laptop charger keeps sliding off your desk, take the cable and loop it once around the leg on the desk. Tension fixes what weight never will and defies gravity better than friction. Hack number 2, if your washing machine walks during the spin cycle, loosen the front feet and tighten the back ones. Machines, like people, behave better when balanced. Hack number 3, if your phone keeps distracting you while you're trying to focus, turn it face down and switch it to grayscale. Your brain is addicted to color, not importance. Remove the color and suddenly most notifications lose their urgency. And there's your hack trick. Nothing life-changing, just enough to make things work a little better than they did yesterday. It's like Ricky Bobby. What do I do? What do I do with my hands? Actually, I was feeling very comfortable. I was just playing around while I gave a pause for the hack trick on this shot. I paused and I was just playing with my fingers in front. Figured I'd show you guys then. And then I thought about Ricky Bobby. What do I do with my hands? College football. Yeah, this has been an exciting season. I really stopped watching college football many years back. Stopped watching NFL football too because what I did is I stopped gambling on it all. I used to be a big time gambler on all sports back whenever we used to have to actually have bookies. We didn't have apps back whenever I was betting. What I used to love a ton was Indiana basketball. And now their football team is destroying people. I never thought I would see this. I mean, first of all, their quarterback, Mendoza, he won the Heisman this year. They're 14-0. They've gotten through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They're now in the semifinals. They play, Oregon in the Peach Bowl. Miami is playing Ole Ole Miss in the Fiesta Bowl, and then whoever wins those 2 games will go and play for the national championship. And right now, Indiana is favored to win it. They have never had an undefeated football program. They've always been a basketball school. I grew up, Bob Knight was the god of Indiana. Their football team always sucked, always. And now they're just winning everything. They won the Big Ten championship, which they hadn't done since 1967 or something. This week they beat Alabama 38-3 in the Rose Bowl. Doesn't have much to do with football, but I used to live in Pasadena on Green Street, which is just off the beaten path. It's about a mile from the Rose Bowl stadium. I remembered it the other day. Every New Year we would stay up all night and I would go over to this coffee shop that was right across the street from me that I actually shot a short film there. But there was 2 Armenian ladies that owned it, Lita and Armini. Shout out to you gals if you hear this. I had not seen them forever, but I used to love to go over there. I would bet money with them, and I did not know this. They were backgammon champions. They won backgammon tournaments, and so I'd try to bet them money on backgammon, and they would just destroy me. But that has nothing to do with Indiana football. It has nothing to do with the Rose Bowl. I would go to the Rose Bowl every year, or the Rose Parade every year, though. Indiana destroyed Alabama in the Rose Bowl, and they just looked so impressive, and I'm just so happy for this program. And honestly, 2 years ago, you wouldn't even have put them into not being an underdog in anything. So this coach that they have has turned this program around that fast. That is amazing that you can do that on the college level. Even though now they have the portal and the paying the players and stuff like that, that is still amazing that a school like Indiana can do it because they don't have the money that some other schools do. National championship favorite, money line is plus 130 for them right now, I think. For the Oregon game, they are a 4-point favorite, I believe. All right, there we go. That's it. Thanks so much for everything again, guys. Hope you all had a good holiday season. Hope you're not getting the January squeeze on you too hard. Leave a comment. Let me know if you're still doing your New Year's resolutions. I'll see you next week.